Creepy encounters. Creepy Whisper Girl. I was messing around with the Whisper app a few years ago. I liked this idea of being somewhat anonymous yet interacting with others. Although I hadn't been too impressed with it, that sort of app naturally draws all kind of deviants out of the woodwork. Nothing against deviants, to each their own, but some encounters on there are just way too much. I posted a whisper at one point when I was going through a stressful period in life and wanted someone to talk to for a bit. Sometimes chatting with a stranger about your problem can be wonderfully helpful. I made it clear I wasn't interested in anything more than a chat. I got a reply pretty quickly from a woman going by dash dash dash, and we talked. Everything seems pretty cool. She said she was about my age and was obviously a stoner. So we had that in common. We were also both gamer, like several of the same movies and anime series, just a lot to discuss in general. Then we wrapped it up because I had to go to work. That night, my inbox was flooded with messages from her. She wanted to know why I was ignoring her, etc. I explained that I wasn't, but that I hadn't really planned on talking to her after that morning. She said she thought I was cool and wanted to continue our conversation. So I debated for a while, then agreed. I wouldn't bore you with unnecessary detail, but to be summarized, we talked for several days, exchanged pictures, all the things you had normally do with a new friend. I was cautious to a point, but not overly so, and eventually we agreed to meet. She lived just on the other side of town. We were supposed to meet at the Stark Park in her neighborhood, so I showed up there. I was a bit early, so I stayed to pass the time. After quite some time, I realized it was probably past time, but I hadn't seen anyone or anybody other than one older woman who had been walking her dogs and had sat on a nearby bench and watched me skate for a while. I sent her a few messages and got no answer. Still didn't see her. It was half an hour past time, and pretty obviously she wasn't gonna show up. So I went home. I sent her a message informing her that I didn't appreciate being stood up and that she should have contacted me. I wouldn't hear from her for 2 days. We had moved to communicating by message at this point, and the next one I got from her was a picture of me skating at the park. She sent it with text saying that I was pretty good. Obviously, this freaked me out a bit as I hadn't seen anybody there. Then I remembered the woman, but didn't think it could have been her. I had only seen her on the bench, and the direction of the picture was taken from wasn't right. I asked what the hell was going on, told her that I found that very odd and slightly disturbing. I was also angry because it seemed like she was playing some sort of game with me, and I didn't particularly appreciate it. I got no answer and wouldn't hear from her almost a week. The next message asked me where I lived, and I damn sure wasn't gonna tell her that after what had happened. She knew my part of town, but I had never given her an address or a street. Anyway, I told her another street that was about a mile off from me and asked why she wanted to know. I should have just told her no and cut the contact, but I had a certain curiosity. Her next text said, "Don't lie to me, I followed you." I freaked out. I sent several texts asking if she was serious, asking what was wrong with her, telling her not to contact me ever again. I told my roommate about everything and told him if he saw anything out of the ordinary to call the police right away. I never got another text from her. Well, maybe I did, but not from that number. What happened was about a week later, I got a text from another number saying it was her. The story I got was that she dropped her phone the day she was supposed to meet me, and she had been at the park early, excited to meet me, but lost her phone and took off looking for it. By the time she got back to the park, I wasn't there. I didn't know what to think or whether to believe her. Ultimately decided that I wasn't gonna answer her. That was too much weird for my taste. I guess I will never really know for sure what happened, but I'm okay with that. I have since moved and no longer worried about it at all. I guessed what I took from the whole situation is be careful who you meet online. Sometimes they really are not what you think.